Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another Incursio the Gamer Dungeons & Dragons quick build video. Today we have with us Twinhook Pirate's first mate Gregor, also known as Twinhook Gregor. Now, before we get into the D&D build, let's talk Limbus. So he is a pretty much ammo ID, but only on his skill 3, as well as bleed and poise, and some plus coin boost, as well as extra damage on critical hits. Now, of course, he also has his unique effect, Unjust Enrichment, dealing more damage when, I believe, bleed and critical hits are procced. Now, of course, he is a very simple build, very straightforward, and I love that, really. Simple builds are what make my day, and they are pretty fun to actually make in D&D rather than having to overthink it, such as, maybe Heisho Faust or Lord of Hongyuan. Those guys require a little bit of extra thinking and working around, and then finally finalizing on one of the decisions. Whereas Twinhook Gregor was super straightforward. Love this guy. So, Goblin, Rogue 5 is your starting class. You're going to take Swashbuckler, then Ranger 1. Level 6, remember you guys can always build forward or backwards from here. It's completely up to you guys. For stats, you want to take that 20 dex, or your highest stat dex, as I pretty much dumped everything I could into it, with backgrounds, features, everything. Because, dexterity-based attack rolls. That's pretty much what the Twinhook's pirates are. They're not one to use big, heavy maces, or, say, a giant greatsword. That would be the Zwei. Speaking of which, I really want to do Zwei Ishmael another time. We'll talk about that later. Now, Strength 15, Dex 20, Con 12, Intelligence 7, Wisdom 13, Charisma 12. These Charmer stats are only going to be, secondary in comparison to the physical stats. And health, it is not bad, 191, but most units these days, due to power creep, have like 200 plus health. So, it is what it is. Now, of course, 40 health, 30 speed, 16 AC, 9 initiative. Alright? Remember, these are your dump stats. You have proficiency in Dex and Intelligence saving throws, advantage to avoid or end charm condition. I figure because they're in cahoots with the middle, and the middle never forgets, they would be, a little more resistant to being swayed against the middle, or anything the middle wants or desires, etc., etc. Now, 11, 11, 14 for passive senses, respectively. Dark vision, 60 feet. Here are your proficiencies. Let's talk skills. Athletics, deception, investigation, sleight of hand, and stealth all come from the Twinhook pirates, of course. But I would say insight and survival come from Gregor, as he was a soldier during the Smoke Wars. Now, I believe it's the old G Corp, but yeah. This is a beautiful little blend, a little mix. Of course, you can take in other things such as acrobatics or perception or even persuasion if you want, as the Twinhook pirates do kind of deal with charismatic deals, as they have to, capture people, kill them, extort them of money, rinse and repeat the process. But anyways, let's talk actions. Now, hand, crossbow, dagger, dagger, sickle. Sickle are flavored as his twin hook, or his hook hand. And unfortunately, it is a strength-based rolling weapon, but you can always flavor the dagger as the sickle and just simply use that. Hand crossbow, it is the only one with the light feature. Thank you for that person who shouted out that light crossbow doesn't have light, and only hand crossbow does. I now understand it. Thank you so much. We have that as his gun. I did consider taking, I believe it was a crossbow expert or something as the feat, but instead I decided to take a piercer. Now, of course, on critical hits, he deals more damage. You'll see that coming in a bit. He also has his dash, disengage, dodge, grapple, shove. Now bonus actions. 2-up in fighting, allowing him to do 2 attacks, of course, because everything's light, except for that sickle. In addition, cunning action, which allows the disengage and hide as a bonus action, as well as a dash if he really wants, as well as reaction, uncanny dodge. Opportunity attacks, of course. Of the other, sneak attack, 3d6 damage, and Fury of the Small. Because he is a goblin, he's going to be sized smaller. He can deal 3 extra damage when a creature's size is larger than him, which is pretty much all medium creatures and up, meaning he deals extra damage to humans. We'll talk about that in a bit. Now, Piercer, critical hit, deal more damage, reroll, deal more damage. Sneak attack, of course. You're going to love this. Limited use, Fury of the Small, you get the point. Inventory, crossbow and his bolts, which is pretty much the gun and his ammo. Dagger, dagger, leather, sickle, pretty much makes sense. You could add on, like, say, an Explorer or Dungeoneer's pack, but it's not necessary. It is all up to your DM if they want you to add these starting items or not, but these are pretty much the base items you're going to want to have. Now, let's get into our features and traits. Class features starting off with Rogue. Athletics, Deception, Insight, Sleight of Hand. As proficiencies, Athletics, Sleight of Hand, Expertise. These ones kind of make sense as he is a pirate. Now, Sneak Attack, beautiful stuff, comes with higher levels of Rogue. Additionally, Thieves' Cant, Cunning Action, Swashbuckler. Now, pirates, that is pretty much what they're, I suppose, known for, being swashbucklers. But anyways, fancy footwork. Creature cannot make opportunity attacks against you for the rest of that turn if you make a melee attack against them. Rakish Audacity, +1 to your initiative if you really want it. And, of course, Feat, Piercer, as well as Uncanny Dodge. Now, species... Oh, wait, no, I forgot my ranger. How can I ever do that? Survival, of course. And favorite enemy, humans, as they do capture people and extort them of money. You can take whatever you want, but humans, elves, halflings kind of made the most sense to me. They're kind of humanoid looking. Natural Explorer, the coast, as he is a pirate, of course. Now on to species traits, I apologize. Creature type, Goblin. He is going to be goblinoid, small, unfortunately, but we're still stating his height is going to be his 5'6". Walking speed, 30 feet. Dark vision, Fey ancestry, as a goblin would technically have saving throws, pretty much. Fury of the Small, which is the best part, and Nimble Escape. Nimble stuff, I love it. Now, for feats. Piercer from Rogue. We love the Piercer, it does extra damage, and pretty much gives you a second chance in case you roll all ones. I love the Piercer because I'm probably going to make another Don Quixote video. Manager Don Quixote from La Mancha Land. And I'm definitely adding Piercer on her. There is no other way around that. Also, we have Fighter, Alert from being Criminal. And initiative proficiency adding 3, and then +1 from charisma from being a swashbuckler, meaning you have 9, which is higher than Faust. Heisho Fausts. And initiative swap. You can swap initiative with anyone. Favorable if it was another pirate, of course, but you do you, really. Now, background. You are a criminal, as you do deal with not exactly human trafficking, more like just slaughtering humans. Go Gregor. All decks. You dump everything into dexterity, and you don't look back. Neutral evil in this ID, as his faith belongs to the Twinhook Pirates. He just kind of does his own thing and kills people. At least it's not chaotic in the fashion where he, is a terrorist. But anyways, male, golden brown eyes, small size, but he's still 5'6" in lore. You can always change that height. It's up to DM discretion if you want to be able to do this. Weight 130 some odd pounds, 35 years old, white skin, and brown hair. This is Gregor, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, add whatever personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, appearance you want, and notes and extras. Now, ladies and gentlemen, of course, this is just one of the 2 videos I'm going to be uploading today. As you do know, Flanders is coming out later, but I'm going to be quite busy today. That one's going to come out later. Alright. Yeah, now, of course, Twinhook Gregor is quite the simple build. He doesn't have too much to him, and there's, at least he's not Blade Lineage Yisang, who has a total of 6 lines, including his passive. But, I mean, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this one. This one's going to be a lot shorter than the usual. I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye, and good night.